Have I told you lately how disappointed I am in you, Naomi? I never thought in my wildest years I would come across a woman as useless as yourself. You're a housewife, and I suppose you keep the house clean enough, but you're an absolute failure at the single most important duty for a wife, having children. You're a terrible wife for my poor son.
Good morning, Mom. If you don't mind me asking, to what do I owe the pleasure of hearing from you this morning? Did Caden go complaining to you about something today? As soon as he got back from work, he left immediately, saying he was going to your house. Apparently, he wants to rest up tonight before we leave on the big family vacation tomorrow.
Right you are, Naomi. He came here desperate to get away from you. He says just being in the same building as you sucks the vitality right out of him. What does it tell you when your own husband would rather be with his parents than you? What it tells me is that you must have said something to put him in this mood.
Ah, okay, so he did end up going to your place. I assumed he was going to go and spend the evening at a bar or something.
You see, that's precisely my point. That attitude of yours is precisely what my son hates so much about you. That, the fact that you have yet to give him any children. Again, you have 2 jobs as a housewife: cook, clean, and have babies.
Actually, that's 3 jobs.
Shut your mouth, you know what I meant.
Mom, there are some things in this life that you can't control. Having kids is one of them. It's easy for some people, and for others it's not so easy. Which, by the way, is something I was hoping to talk with you all about during the vacation. Think we might be able to have a family conference one evening?
We have absolutely nothing to talk about. All that I want to hear from you is an apology.
An apology? For what?
For being such a pathetic failure as a wife. I don't need to remind you that I opposed your relationship from the very beginning, do I?
No, you don't, but you do it every day anyway.
There you go again, smart-talking me like a snotty teenager. Couple that bratty attitude with your utterly mediocre appearance, and what do you get? A marriage with absolutely zero excitement. Any marriage without excitement is doomed to fail. Honestly, what did he ever see in you? Perhaps he just has a thing for miserable, homely women. I keep clinging to hope that learning that your womb is as barren as the Sahara Desert, that he'll wake up to how poorly matched the 2 of you are.
Wow, Mom, I have to hand it to you. You're working way harder than usual at being rude today. Barren as the Sahara Desert. That's a new one. I'll have you know I'm actually putting effort into having a baby. Caden, however, is not very cooperative.
Effort? Is that all? You clearly haven't put in enough effort. A woman like yourself, who's only useful for doing the housework, wouldn't know this. But in the real world, effort doesn't matter. Only results matter.
I agree wholeheartedly, Mom. Results are very important. Speaking of which, I got some results the other day that you might be interested in.
I'm not interested in hearing anything you have to say. Talking to you is exhausting. I am done with this conversation. I'll see to it that Caden has a relaxing evening tonight. While he's in my care, I want you to do some soul-searching. Exactly what value do you bring to this marriage compared to Caden? And what do you need to do about the gap between you and him?
You know what? That's a good idea, Mom. I'll do just that.
Why have you been following us around all day today? You even got onto the same airplane as us. I don't recall inviting you on this family vacation.
Not only did you invite me, you had me plan the whole thing. And by the way, where did you guys all go? I lost sight of you after we got off the airplane. Have you gotten through security yet?
What we are doing is none of your business. You're not invited to join us on our family vacation. A failure like yourself is no family of mine. Now, I believe it's time for us to part ways. Permanently. You can stay at the airport. Don't you dare talk to us while we're on our vacation or ever again.
What is going on? I mean, is this some kind of a prank? Seriously, where are you guys?
We're on our way to the hotel. And once we put our suitcases safely in our room, then we're going to go out and enjoy ourselves as a family. As for you, I don't particularly care what you do, so long as you do it as far away from us as possible. Why don't you go wander off out of the city and get kidnapped by a drug cartel or something?
Because I don't want to die?
And why not? That would certainly save us a world of trouble.
So you're being serious right now?
Of course I am. To think you actually followed us all the way to Mexico. You're like a dog chasing after its owner's car as he drives away. You're too stupid to know that you've been abandoned. Now get lost, understand? If I never had to see your face again, it would be far too soon.
So be it. I'll do whatever I please then. Now, just to make sure, is Caden all right with what you're saying to me?
Is he all right? Oh, Naomi, I'm reading all my texts out to him and he's laughing his head off. He says he doesn't care what happens to you from now on either. Oh, you poor little thing. Not even your husband will back you up.
All right then, I guess it's official. There's nothing more for us to talk about. Thanks for letting me know.
So I take it Mom talked to you, huh? Hey, just so you know, it's not just her. My dad and my brother both agree with her. Everyone wants you gone. Actually, nah, they're just fine without you. They don't care enough to actually want you gone, and the same goes for me. Don't bother us while we're on this vacation, Naomi. We're trying to have fun, and we can't do that with you crying and begging us for help.
I'll just turn that right back onto you, Caden. Are you sure you'll be all right without my help?
Yeah, I'm sure. What would we need you for anyway?
The whole being in Mexico thing. I'm the only one of us who speaks decent Spanish.
Get over yourself. I spent a semester in Spain, remember? My Spanish is just as good as yours, if not better.
It objectively isn't. Like, for real, by what measure is your Spanish on a similar level to mine?
Oh, shut up, would ya? You think you're hot stuff because you can speak a few words of Spanish, huh? I'll bet that's what this was always about. You just wanted to show off. Oh, look at me, I can communicate with the locals. Aren't I awesome? You should totally accept me as a member of the family. How pathetic can you get?
That was never my intention, but you're welcome to think whatever makes you feel better. By the way, your mom didn't just say I was kicked out of the vacation. She said I'm being kicked out of your lives entirely. You're fine with that too, I presume?
Yeah, I saw her say that. And if you're thinking I'm gonna take your side over my mom, think again. I'm behind her all the way.
By that, you mean?
I mean, let's get divorced.
I thought so. Just wanted to make sure. So is this part of your plan for this vacation? Abandon me in the airport and finally get rid of me?
No, it's like I said, we don't care enough about you to make some convoluted plan like that. We just felt like getting rid of you, so we did.
Incredible. You're divorcing your wife of 5 years on a whim.
You really think you're anything special? You do housework. Congratulations. Anyone can do that. It's not like you're the only woman in the world who can wash the dishes.
No, I don't suppose I am. Then it's final then? We're getting divorced?
Yes, so don't ask me again. You can take care of it all for me. You still have the divorce papers I signed, right?
You mean the divorce papers you used to threaten me anytime you were in a bad mood? Yeah, I still have them.
Awesome. Then go home and turn them in right away. Man, to think that by the time I get back in the country, I'm gonna be single again. This is awesome. The best vacation ever.
If you're sure that's what you want. I suppose there's no reason for us to ever speak to each other again. If you need anything, you can talk to my lawyer.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Now leave me alone. I'm trying to have fun.
As you wish. Goodbye, Caden.
Hey, what was the name of the hotel we were gonna stay at tonight? It's checkout time right now. I need to know where to head next. Hey! Where are you? Answer me! Are you ignoring me? Oh, that's really mature. Naomi, what's going on here? You're gonna ruin our plans for the day. Is that what you want? We're gonna be late to the restaurant at this rate. You're the one who planned this whole vacation, and you had the only copy of the itinerary. You're so useless you don't even know how to use a freaking copy machine. Thanks to you, we're stranded until you answer me. You know what? Whatever. If that's how you're gonna be, screw you. We don't need you. We'll just do whatever we want. We'll get by just fine. Naomi! Answer me! I'm warning you. What is the matter with you? When are you gonna finally get back to me? We've had to carry all of our suitcases around with us today while sightseeing because you're busy having a tantrum like a toddler. My mom, dad, brother, and I are all very tired and very angry at you.
What is with you, Caden? Honestly, what is your problem? What happened to you divorcing me and never wanting to speak to me again? Stop blowing up my phone with notifications. I've been so busy today, I haven't had the chance to look at my phone. Then I picked it up and saw over 200 notifications, most of them from you.
Finally? Why were you ignoring me all this time?
I don't know. Do you suppose it might have something to do with the fact that you divorced me yesterday? You told me you didn't need me, but now you're furiously texting me because you desperately need my help. And not just that, you're angry at me for not responding? Make it make sense, Caden.
Didn't you read my texts?
No, I didn't. So be a big boy, use your words, and tell me what the problem is.
You planned the entire vacation and you have the only copy of the itinerary because you were too careless to make one single stinking copy.
You're joking, right? I tried to give you copies of the itinerary. You told me you didn't want them because it would take up too much space in your luggage. You also said that it was my job to handle the schedule and logistics of the vacation, and you didn't want to have to worry about it.
That's beside the point now. Make yourself useful for once and give me the name of the hotel right now. We can't go anywhere until we know where we're supposed to go next.
You kicked me out of the vacation. I had to pay for a return trip home myself. And now that you realize that you do, in fact, need me, you want me to drop everything to help you? What reason could I possibly have to do that?
Because for the last 5 years, you've done nothing but live off of my hard-earned money. It wouldn't kill you to show a little bit of gratitude for that, would it? But no, you're repaying my generosity with spite. You knew we were in trouble, and you just sat idly by while we suffered.
Why are you blaming me for your lack of preparation? You should have considered what the consequences would be when you kicked the only person with an itinerary out of your party. I'm not under any moral or legal obligation to help my ex-husband out of a mess he got himself into. I only ever helped you in the first place because we were married.
Shut up, Naomi. You're nothing but defective goods. You can't even have kids, but you want to criticize me?
What? What does that have to do with anything? But since you brought it up, I suppose this is as good a time as any to let you know the truth. I can have kids. You can't.
How immature can you get? I know you are, but what am I? Like, seriously? I know it must suck to have a defective body, but don't take your frustrations out on me.
You sure were convinced that I was defective, but I wasn't, so I got tested. If the problem with me was fixable, I wanted to get to work on fixing it as soon as possible. But you know what? The test results came back clean. There's no problem with my body at all. You know what that means? It means you were the problem keeping us from having kids. What's so funny?
I'll bet you thought that story was gonna work on me, didn't ya? Well, joke's on you. Since we're divorced now, it's time for me to tell you some news. I already have a kid.
What? I mean, what? What do you mean?
Just what you think it means, Naomi. You might never have appreciated what a catch I am, but all the women out there really missed me being on the dating scene. So when I got back into it, I scored right away. She's younger than you, cuter than you, more feminine than you, and she has my baby inside of her right now.
You know, I had my suspicions that you were cheating on me, but really, how much of an idiot are you? I am going to destroy you in the divorce proceedings with that information.
I don't care. You can have however much you want. With my salary, I'll earn it all back in no time. Any amount would be worth it to be rid of you and finally have the happy family I've always dreamed of.
All right, then. I'll just screenshot these texts and shoot them to my lawyer. He'll take care of the rest. It's odd that you were able to have a kid, but hey, if you're happy, more power to you. Enjoy your vacation.
Oh, we're having an awesome time mocking you. My mom and brother were just talking about you. Do you know how much my brother hated you? He said I should have gotten rid of you years ago. He said the only thing you were good for was doing housework, and you weren't even that good at it anyway.
He did he? Interesting.
My mom's crying tears of joy, too. I just broke the news that I'm giving her a grandchild. What a colossal backfire this has been for you. You're about to embark on the most painful time of your entire life while I'm on a one-way trip to happiness. I wonder what'll last longer, the alimony you get from me or your will to live?
You seem pretty confident that you've won, Caden. I hope you enjoy this feeling for as long as you can.
Anyway, can we get back to the issue at hand here? Tell me the name of the hotel we're staying at tonight, and once you do that, then you can go back to never speaking to me again.
I don't need your permission to ignore you.
Stop talking back to me. Don't you realize what a loser you are? Like, for real, give it up already.
I am not a loser, and I am not going to tell you anything about your itinerary. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am very busy. I need to have a talk with my lawyer about how much I'm going to demand from you. Good luck finding a place to stay tonight.
I hope you're happy with yourself, you spiteful little harpy. Our family vacation was ruined, and it's all your fault. Caden said he was sure that he could handle communicating with the locals, but his Spanish wasn't any use to us at all. We had to make all new reservations since you wouldn't give us the itinerary, but all the hotels with English-speaking staff were fully booked, and we tried making a reservation at a local motel, but the receptionist eventually got annoyed with Caden's broken Spanish and kicked us out.
As glad as I am to hear how miserable your vacation was, I'm curious. Why are you telling me all of this? Your son and I are divorced. Are you just bored or something and want someone to vent to? If that's the case, then I'm not in the mood. Let's just go back to not speaking to each other again.
Well, I see you're just as angry and bitter as ever. Are you sure you want to be such a little brat to me right now? I'll bet you're in a world of trouble without my son to pay your bills. If you were to come crawling to me on your hands and knees and beg for my forgiveness, then I just might consider allowing you to marry Caden again.
Excuse me? Are you under the impression that I want to come back to Caden? Not in a million years. You've got to be kidding me. I am the happiest I've been in years right now, thanks to divorcing Caden. I haven't been this happy since, since me and Caden got married. So I'm sorry, Melissa, but I am not interested in being the housekeeper for your idiot son any longer. Getting married to him again would be a fate worse than death.
What? How dare you talk about my son like that? And who do you think you're fooling with that bravado? What reputable man would be willing to marry a divorcee at your age? You're going to be all alone for the rest of your life. No one will ever love you again. No one, that is, except for my son. And I'd be willing to convince him to take you back if you were willing to apologize for ruining my vacation.
Romance isn't everything, you know. I'm not as bearish on my hopes or finding love again as you are. But even if I were to stay single for the rest of my life, I'd be fine with that. I certainly wouldn't remarry Caden to avoid that fate in any case.
There you go again, pretending that everything is fine. I'll bet you're about to be homeless any day now. You haven't had a job since you quit work to be a housewife.
I didn't do that because I wanted to. If I had my way, I would have stayed at my old job.
And what was your old job, Cashier, janitor, beggar, exotic dancer?
Corporate consultant specializing in tourism companies in Mexico.
What?
I spent my youth in Cancun because my dad was assigned there on business. So my Spanish is just about as close to native as a non-native speaker can be. I could have been a pretty good guide for you while we were in Mexico if you hadn't sent me back home.
That's ridiculous. If you had a job like that, why didn't Caden tell me?
Because he didn't want anyone to know. He's always been jealous that my Spanish was better than his for some reason. I don't know, I guess he just didn't like being shown up by a woman. So yeah, with my career background, I don't believe I'd ever be hurting for work. Actually, before I quit my job, I was making more money than Caden was. He was just so insistent on wanting to be the family breadwinner that I figured I would let him have his moment. I could always go back to work once any kids we went on to have were in school.
But why would a company want to hire someone who's been doing nothing but housework for 5 years?
I don't know, good question. You'll have to ask that to someone who's been doing nothing but housework for 5 years.
What do you mean?
I mean, I have been working, just not full-time. Caden came home in the middle of the night almost every day of the week back when we were married. Sometimes he never came home at all. So I had a lot of free time on my hands. I've been doing minor consulting work during the day in my spare time to keep my clients interested in me should I ever go back to working full-time. And now that I'm divorced, I am working full-time.
I don't believe it!
No, you don't want to believe it. Just like I didn't want to believe that Caden was cheating on me, but he was. And that makes me pretty mad to think that I was doing the laundry of a dirty, rotten cheater. But it's all over now. We're divorced and he's not my concern anymore.
You know, Naomi, I think maybe I was wrong about you. You're a much better match for Caden than I gave you credit for. That settles it. I officially grant you my permission to marry Caden again.
What? Have you been paying attention at all this conversation? I am happy being divorced. I don't want him back. And besides, he's got a new girl and a grandchild for you on the way, doesn't he? Are you really going to tell him to walk away from that?
About that woman.
Oh boy, here it comes.
She was engaged to another man.
Yep, saw that coming. And the kid?
Her fiancé is the child's father, not Caden.
Right on schedule.
But you don't understand. Up until she got pregnant, she was telling Caden that she would leave her fiancé for him.
Wow. So you knew she was engaged?
Yes, but she seemed so serious about Caden. Once she got pregnant, though, she told Caden that she couldn't see him anymore. Caden took that message pretty hard. He couldn't accept that she would leave him like that after all the gifts he had given her.
So that's what Caden was spending all his money on.
He wanted another chance with her, so he went over to her house to surprise her. But when he was waiting in her living room to surprise her...
Let me guess, she walked in with her fiancé?
Yes. And now she's suing him for harassment, stalking, and breaking and entering.
Oof, that's gotta hurt. Well, thanks for telling me that. You just tied up a lot of loose ends for me. It was so odd to me when he said he had a baby. I mean, there's nothing wrong with me, so it had to be him, right? I was sure that there was no way he could have gotten her pregnant. And it turns out I was right. The baby wasn't his.
What? What are you saying? It's Caden's fault you couldn't get pregnant?
Well, I don't think talking about it in terms of fault is very helpful. But yes, Caden is the infertile one. I was planning on talking to you all about that during the vacation, but you kicked me out. I told Caden about it a short while after that, though. From your surprise, I take it he didn't tell you about that?
No, he didn't. I guess my only hope for grandchildren now is my younger son. I'll have to find a nice girl to introduce him to.
He's gay.
What?
He's gay, you know, he likes guys.
I know what gay means. What makes you say that?
I saw him on a date with another man.
Nonsense! You don't know it was a date. It could have been just a meal with his friend.
They were holding hands.
Friends hold hands?
And kissing. Friends don't do that.
Oh no.
Oh no was my thought exactly when he noticed that I had seen him and his boyfriend making out. He went crazy. Like he completely lost his mind. He started going back and forth between offering me money not to tell you and threatening me into silence.
My son is not gay. He can't be gay.
I presume he anticipated that reaction out of you. That was probably a big reason why he was so desperate for me not to tell you.
This can't be happening to me.
Which part? The fact that one of your sons is infertile and the other uninterested in women? Those aren't really things that happened to you so much as things that just happened. Now, you putting your life's worth into having grandchildren and not caring who you hurt in order to get them, that was all your fault. And now you get to deal with the consequences. Have fun with that. Melissa wasn't quite ready to give up on me taking Caden back. She messaged me day after day, even offering me money a couple of times. I finally got tired of it and blocked her. Now, as for Caden, let's just say he isn't enjoying life very much right now. I worked with my lawyer, and thanks to him brazenly admitting to an affair via text and offering to give me as much as I wanted, I secured huge alimony payments. His mistress and her fiancé sued him for harassment and won. He tried to convince her fiancé that he was having an affair with her to get him to break up with her, but it didn't work. Apparently, he trusts his fiancé too much. Poor guy. So, Caden has been dumped by 2 women, found out the kid he thought was his wasn't, got sued, was criminally charged with trespassing, and found out that he can never have kids. All within the span of about a month or so. Yikes. He spiraled into a deep, dark depression to the point where he couldn't work, keep his own house clean, or do much of anything else. He quit his job and moved back in with his mother, who is now working around the clock as his caretaker. As for her other son, I guess they had a massive blowout fight over him being gay. She was convinced it was just a phase that he'd grow out of and demanded he do so quickly. Needless to say, he did not take kindly to that and swore to never speak to her again. With her family broken and hopes of having grandchildren shattered, Melissa turned to the one thing that could keep her going through all of it: alcohol. Honestly, I don't feel an ounce of pity for her. I think she's getting what she deserves. Does that make me a bad person?